Welcome back. We just wrapped week 2 of the 2024 Sports and Active Lifestyle Internship. We are officially halfway, and we're so excited to get an update from all the interns this week. This week, the interns headed down to Southern California, and they met with some really incredible industry leaders and organizations, gaining a ton of exposure to sports, resorts, private equity, outdoor recreation, and much more.
So before we hear from them, we want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank those who made week 2 an amazing experience. The interns started their week in San Diego and Orange County, meeting with Richard Davis and Nathan Pierce at the Grand Del Mar, and then toured with Eric Lohman at Monarch Beach.
Yes, and our interns then headed up to Los Angeles, where they met with industry leaders in hospitality and private equity. And a special thank you to Raul Agarwal from Brentwood Associates, Casey Kaut at the Braemar, and Lorena Blythe at the Griffin Club. Thank you guys so much.
Yes, we'd also love to thank Fred Mass and the team from the Chargers training facility, the Bolt. That was really cool to see. Dennis Wong from the LA Clippers, Daryl Evans from the LA Kings, Alex Rose and Bob Tarnofsky from Continental Development Corporation, Luis Benitez from the outdoor recreation industry, Jennifer Pope, and David Wong.
Yes, and thank you again to the professional sports teams that hosted us this week. It was incredible access, so thank you again for the partnership from the Los Angeles Rams, the Chargers, the Clippers, and the Kings. We cannot wait to check in with the interns and hear all about it, so let's bring them in.
Let's hear from them.
In the middle. How do I do this? Boom. I need to stop looking directly at Jimmy every time.
Do we have a blooper section? Can we get that?
Yeah. There we go. I'm all giddy now. Yeah. He's smiling all the time.
All right, tell me your favorite place that you visited this week and why.
Yeah, my favorite place that we visited this week was the Grand Del Mar. The Grand Del Mar was, a beautiful hotel, resort, amazing golf course, great amenities, tennis courts, pickleball courts, pools. So yeah, it was really beautiful. LeBron James also got married there. So I'm a big LeBron fan. That was really cool to hear.
The favorite place that I saw this past week was the Grand Del Mar. I thought it was just an unbelievable example of just such an extreme luxury hospitality experience in terms of the resort world, and their golf facility was incredible. And I think that transferred also into their F&B. The 3-star Michelin restaurant obviously speaks for itself. I thought it was extremely impressive.
My personal favorite was the Grand Del Mar. It had an old charm to it that I just really loved. It felt like, an intern and I were saying that it felt like we were almost like in a different country.
My favorite place that we toured, it has to be SoFi Stadium. Not only is the facility amazing, but we got to meet with Kevin DeMoff, the president of the Rams, and something that he said that I just thought was super interesting was that business and sports analytics is a growing field, which is plays right to my interest.
So my favorite spot we visited this week had to be SoFi. It was just an absolute spectacle. Architecturally speaking, it was unbelievable being able to see a stadium that was drilled or dug 100 feet down. They implemented native plants all around it. It really just felt like something I've never seen before.
I'm gonna have to say my favorite was SoFi. I think my favorite part about it is it's almost like a living organism in that for 2026 in the Olympics, they're gonna put a pool in there. And the stadium was never designed to have a pool. They just took turf out of it that they put in for the soccer game. It's so interesting to see how many different uses that can come out of it, even though it wasn't designed for it originally.
My favorite place that we visited this past week would have to be the Chargers' new practice facility, the Bolt. I had never seen such a state-of-the-art building. There's anything that any athlete, or even if you're a non-athlete, could possibly want in one place, and it was incredible.
And then my favorite place to visit this week was the practice facility, the Bolt, for the Chargers. Myself being a lifelong NFL fan, it was just so cool to see, kind of where all the players practice and prep for the week, and all the behind the scenes that goes into making, a successful NFL organization run.
My favorite spot that we visited this week was probably Monarch Beach. It was so beautiful. I think that its location made it very unique since it was right on the ocean. And that was the first resort we had seen that was right on the ocean front. And so it was very interesting to see how they utilized that space and had the golf course go all the way down almost to the sand. And it was just so beautiful and a very very cool resort.
Yeah, I would say this week I really enjoyed meeting with Alex and Bob from Continental and just learning about what they do, and then also the idea of selling different components of people's lives.
So for me, the most impactful thing I learned this week, especially about Bay Clubs, was their community involvement. From an outside perspective, I really just thought it was a sports and active lifestyle brand, but you go and you got to see MCC, and they have this wine auction they do every year to raise money for schools in the local area. And I thought that was something really cool, that they almost have the ability to support something like that and get a message across that it's beyond just the sports and active lifestyle industry. And to see that community outreach they have was something really special.
The most impactful thing that I learned this week had to be this new term that I learned was agronomy. Basically, every golf course that we visited had some point of reference to how impactful it is to keep constant upkeep on the grass so that, you know, the golfers can have the best experience possible. So I thought that was really neat.
Most interesting part for me this week was definitely my meeting with Rahul Agarwal. He had some really cool insights on why different companies will own their land versus lease their land and how it affects their long-term growth periods.
For me, I'd say meeting with Brentwood Associates was a truly amazing experience. Raul gave some great advice. He mentioned hot sectors and how every 12 to 18 months there's always a new one, and you need to be analyzing the trends and knowing what's going to come next. And I asked a question wondering what he thought the next hot sector would be, which he mentioned car washes and software, which I found fascinating. And then I also tied that into the fact that sports and active lifestyle now is our hot sector that we're focusing on in Bay Clubs.
Yeah, so knowing that Bay Club is an operator on owned real estate, it was interesting to hear a perspective from a real estate leader like Dennis Wong, who eventually found alignment with the architectural and creativity side of working in real estate. And it just reminded me how you don't know what you're interested in until you become introduced to it.
I loved hearing about Continental Developers' wine auction that they host annually at Manhattan Beach. Because I think it's so important to give back to the public education in your communities, and the fact that Bay Club can be part of something so huge and impactful is really amazing.
Most impactful thing that I learned this week was definitely to innovate and always differentiate yourselves from others. And I learned this from Dennis Wong as he grew in the real estate industry. And now as a part owner of the Clippers, they're working to differentiate their new arena, the Intuit Dome, from the rest of the NBA by implementing different aspects of an arena from pro soccer and the NFL as well.
One of the most impactful things that I've learned this week was with our conversation with Dennis Wong, where he discusses the importance of asking questions and being curious. Obviously that seems very trivial and like something everyone knows, but it really was something that was so important for him, and that he attributes a lot of his success to his constant curiosity and ability to ask questions and never be complacent with one answer.
I also found Dennis Wong's conversation with us to be super impactful. From an investment standpoint, pro sports teams compound faster than the S&P, and that's mainly through advertising. And I was curious about this, so I followed up with a question to him asking why he left the Warriors and went to the Clippers. Obviously, there's a difference between living in San Francisco and LA, but I thought there may be more than that. And his response kind of shocked me, to be honest. There's really no benefit of owning X sports team to Y sports team. All the return on investments are always the same, except for when you win championships. And again, Golden State went on to win 3 more championships since he's left, so it has me wondering why he left. But just hearing the fact and what he spoke on that matter was quite interesting to me.
The other would be David Wong. When we were asking him to quantify, experiences and more specifically business school and getting your MBA, he talked about how it's really, really hard to put a value and quantify your experiences and also relationships you build along the time. And he emphasized how relationships and your own personal experiences and growth are what make you who you are and how you get to where you need to go. So I thought that was really cool as well.
The biggest thing that I learned was just developing as a leader, and we met with Luis Benitez, and he talked a lot about his experiences as a mountain climber, and he's climbed Mount Everest 6 times, but one of the most unique climbs he's done was when he took a blind man up to the mountain, and for that to be something that was a success for him is really astonishing. And he talks a lot about the importance of effective communication, and I think that that plays a big role in being an effective leader.
Yeah, I think going off of that, Luis also showed that you can make a career out of like anything you're passionate about. I mean, he was a big rock climber and he was able to boost his own career and like inspire others.